Good evening, and it is again time for my Sunday night review and look forward. And tonight, don't mind me if you see my eyes go off to the side a little bit because as a tennis coach, there's a pretty big tennis match going on right now, and I could admit I'm trying to multitask and keep an eye on the scoreboard and see what happens at the end of the U.S. Open final, which was delayed for hours and hours and hours by rain. And I can tell you as a player, that's a very frustrating experience. So, let's dive right in and do what I really need to do, though, and do some work here and to talk about what we saw in our course last week and what we're seeing now. And what I thought was kind of interesting was the kind of lively, should I say, discussion about the NFL and its monopolistic tendencies, or how does it behave? Is it really one business? Is it really 32 businesses? And I think what I saw was people taking instead of a literal approach of, a legalistic, a definitional look at things, it was more of an how does the league behave? How do the operations of the individual teams within that league behave? And there was quite an interesting, I don't want to say disparity, but diversion of opinion on quite a few things, and I found that really healthy. But you can see the idea of a league is really important. Without a league, in a sport like football, which is, let's face it, it's a capital intensive sport. You need the big stadium. You need tons of money to put on the spectacle that it is. TV has made that sport. It's the ideal sport made for TV almost. And without that kind of economic grounding, then the future economic success of football as a business would have been quite in doubt. Yet we've seen it become from when I was a young child in the 50s, baseball, 50s and 60s, baseball was the dominant sport. We have progressed to where football is clearly the most dominant and most popular sport in the United States. Just as true football, soccer, is the dominant sport throughout the rest of the world. And look at what's going on in that sport with the extra competitions that you, if you will, not just the league competitions you see, but the Champions League and national tournaments and everything that goes on there. It's big business and big logistics, big economics. So continuing with that theme this week, we're going to go ahead and go into a unit on competitive balance. And competitive balance we maybe can have a little bit more fun with because we can not be as purely economic and business oriented about it. We can be fans to some degree and talk about what makes our leagues and our teams competitive. Because face it, we don't really want to watch an imbalanced product, an uncompetitive product. I'll be very honest with you. I went to a college football game yesterday, and because of scheduling quirks and the way things work out, yeah, I went to a game where the score was 76-0. And believe me, that was one of the strangest feelings I've ever had at a sporting event. It was just outright weird. What do you do when you're watching, albeit the team you support, and it was my alma mater, the team I love, beating up on somebody by a margin like that in a game that is so clearly non-competitive? It's not really fun for anybody involved with it, and what does either team get out of it? Well, think about that if it was on the professional level and it happened. What would be the power of contests like that to generate any kind of value, to generate any kind of profitability for anybody? It's not going to happen. So what do we try to do? We try to make our leagues competitive. And in the U.S., you see how we do this, and one of the big things is the draft, right? Every major sports league has a draft, and where we try to help the bottom team get better. So that reverse order draft allows the bottom team to pick the best player available amongst the crop of athletes who are becoming eligible to play in that league. Other ways we do it, we impose salary caps. We monitor free agency. We have compensation. We have trades. In World Soccer, we have the transfer system where teams literally buy players from other teams, but we try to keep our leagues in some sort of competitive balance because that produces interesting contests and that produces interested fans. So that's where we're going to look at things this week. We're going to look at different ways that different leagues and different sports use different methods to create that competitive balance. I'm going to come up with some questions. I mean, are dynasties good for leagues? Are as a dominant team for a period of time something that creates popularity, or does it completely detract for it? I mean, look at the things we've been seeing the past 2 weeks. It seems like even though people tend to hate the administration as much as anything else, there's a whole bunch of football fans who are united in their complete dislike, shall we say, for the New England Patriots. Yet the New England Patriots are sort of the dominant franchise right now. They're the dominant team, at least in results over the last few years. Do we like to, dislike a winner? What are the economic benefits? What does this mean for your business? So as you go through all the things we have in here, and I have things on the promotion and relegation system that's used in World Soccer, where instead of granting draft picks, literally a team gets, for finishing last, gets bumped out of the league and sent down to a lower league, and the teams that finish first and to the top of the lower league get promoted to the upper league. And believe me, that has some serious economic consequences for the teams that are moving back and forth. In fact, we often say that the single most valuable game in English football is the promotion final from the championship division, which is the second level division, to the Premier League. That's the one that means more to anybody in terms of dollars and cents. So competitive balance, is it important? What does it do? What are ways for working with it? Do you have different ways you might promote competitive balance? Do you have a strong feeling on whether it's really all that necessary? That's what I want us to concentrate on this week, okay? And I'm thinking that you're going to find some of this stuff very interesting. And I really appreciate some of the links that many of you have been putting in your discussion boards as evidence of where you've gotten some of your ideas, because I think it really makes a difference, and it helps us find new material and keep things fresh, and also shows the interest that you guys are taking in the course itself. That's really important. All right, the other thing to remember, we're reaching, at the end of this week, we'll reach the halfway point of the course. And unlike a lot of courses that you may have taken, I do not do a midterm exercise at the end of the 4th week. That will come at the end of the 5th. So I will be introducing that to you later on this week so you can get a start in thinking about how you're going to answer the question. But I want you to go through this unit first before we look at what we're going to do for that midterm piece. Okay? So as usual, if anybody has any questions, has any comments, anything, please get to me. I'm in the middle of doing some traveling in my coaching duties, so we're back and forth to a lot of important matches, and let's see how we do things. Okay, thanks for your attention as usual, and good luck with this week. Thanks.